Hey everybody, I'm Greg.
And I'm Katie. Welcome to the Meeple Society. Today we are going to do, let's see if I can get this right, episode 8, part 2 of the B's of our Playing Through Our Collection 2022 and Beyond series.
But before we get started, if you've enjoyed this series and you've been watching this series, go ahead and like and subscribe. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell if you want to see more of these when they come out.
Yep. All right. So that being said, let's get started.
But before we hit the B's, we have to go back to the numbers
backtrack.
because we picked up a number game.
We did.
We picked up 5-Minute Mystery. This is in the same thing as 5-Minute Dungeon and 5-Minute Marvel.
Right.
Kind of the same.
And when we bought it,
real
that's what
time.
we thought it was.
Yeah, it's a real-time game.
We really enjoy 5-Minute Marvel. We've played that a few times now. And I honestly thought that's what this was when I picked it up. Didn't really look at it other than the fact that it had one of those,
Called the Codex?
Codexes. And I thought, well, that's interesting considering how they play. It doesn't play anything the same. It's still very quick paced.
And you're still discarding cards.
You're still discarding cards, but it's very different. So the way this one is done, you have this codex that one person has. Oh, shush. You have this codex that one person controls, and it has all these different shapes and symbols on it.
So everybody else is looking at the card they get, and they look for these symbols in there. You don't know what these symbols are because you're bringing the card out.
You know there's 4 different types of symbols. You've got your square, your triangle, your circle, your cross, and your star, but there's different variations of each of these. And you got to find that specific one.
So you got to find them in it all the while. Each case has it. Some cases are 5 minutes, some cases are 9 minutes.
Yep.
So the 5-Minute Mystery title is always correct.
But there are, look at all these location cards. There are tons of them. So you go through each location, and as soon as you find all of the shapes that you need,
then you check the code.
You check the code on the
back of the card. If it matches the codex, then you're good.
Meanwhile, everybody has a bunch of suspects in their hands. You split these up based on the number of players you've got. And there are so many culprits in the game. And each of the culprits, if you see, they all have these little color patterns on the side. Well, when you get all your clues right and you get to reveal a clue, then you pull up one of 4 different colors of these cards and you match it up against, see if I can do this right here without looking at it. You try to match them. And this will give you a clue as to who your culprit is. So for instance, this one, all right, so this culprit may or may not have gloves on. We don't know. It doesn't really
specify. If he had gloves on, it would match.
Right. Well, if he did.
If it doesn't, he doesn't wear gloves.
But it's not always exact. Because the next one is, does he have a monocle? Nope, this person doesn't have a monocle either.
But with the clues, you can discard cards that don't match that.
You can, clue. Well, maybe, because sometimes they do. Like this one says, okay, this person definitely has a fan in their hand. Well, there might be a suspect that has both a fan and gloves, and the clue they're giving you is the gloves. So the negative ones don't necessarily narrow anybody down, but it helps you to define your answers later on. You've got 4 clues per color. So a total of 16 clues. You go through your clue cards. Every time you get one correct, you get to pull a clue and hopefully narrow down your suspects.
Cards.
Meanwhile, as you're narrowing down your suspects, you're discarding your cards until you come up with 1 card left. You reveal your suspect and then reveal your culprit. And of course, these 2 don't match, and hopefully you match. And you have to do it within the time limit. Meanwhile, there's somebody on the app telling you, you've got 2 minutes left, or you've got 1 minute left. And it was a lot of fun. It was not at all like 5-Minute Marvel, but it had that same stress.
It still had the stress of the real time.
Yeah.
And you're all working as a group trying to get them.
That did not work. So I really enjoyed it. It was fun. I'm glad we picked it up.
We realized that Eric, our youngest son, was really good at finding things in pictures.
Yeah, he was finding things 3 times faster than either of us were. It was crazy how fast he
Now,
was going
in the
through
game,
them.
it tells you that the person that has the codex in front of them doesn't look at the picture, but
Right.
it does say they can. Though.
They can, though, if they need
But
to.
their
yeah.
whole thing is to make sure the codec codes are coming up as they're yelling them out, getting that code up to the top.
And it's amazing how quickly we come up with keywords for some of them. Like there was a square with a little corner missing out of it, and that was our floppy disk. And so you just come up with quick keywords to explain exactly what you're looking for, what you found.
The circle with the dot in the middle of it, we call it the target.
Yep, that was the target. Yeah. But anyway, that's 5 Minute Mystery. Lot of fun addition to the 5 Minute series.
Okay.
Now we'll go on to the bees.
Now to get into the bees, and they're not in alphabetical order, but I'm going to start off with IP games that we have. First off is The Big Bang Theory, Fact and Fiction, and The Big Bang Theory Ultimate Genius. We decided we liked the Ultimate Genius the best.
Yes. This is 100%.
You watch The Big Bang Theory. Like Trekkies, there's Big Bang Theory people, I guess. So.
Yeah. This is 100%.
And see, I watched The Big Bang Theory a lot, and I didn't know a lot of the answers.
Yeah. I thought I'd watched a lot of it, but apparently I didn't, because I didn't know a lot of the answers either. So this one is going to go, like I said, there's the picture of the board. It's kind of
It's a roll and move.
Yep, it's a roll and move. And you can go any direction. You don't have to go in a specific direction. So that helps a little bit. But there's fact spots, there's fiction spots, where you're answering basically nerd trivia that popped up in the series somewhere. And then there are, rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock?
Yes.
Where you have to play rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock, and
the winner gets to steal a card. Because the whole point of the game is you're getting a set of 5 of the actors.
The original 5. The original 5.
Once you collect all 5, you win.
Yep. This one is going to hit the sale pile. We decided we don't need 2 of them based on the Big Bang Theory. And we did enjoy this one more. It is not so much a trivia game. It is more a party game.
Yeah, because it's celebrities. Did we do the celebrities? No, we did not do the celebrity part. No, we took the celebrity part out because it was basically celebrities that was in the show.
Okay.
Then they have the sketch charades, so you're actually drawn just like in the show, if you've ever watched it. Counterfactuals was the stuff that they made up in the game, wasn't it?
Yes, that was based on some of Sheldon and Amy's
and Leonard's and all their stuff.
It was based on Sheldon and Amy's weird if we were in a different reality and this happened.
It's the game that they did, yeah.
Yeah, it was all based on that. So it was really weird stuff, but it was funny.
And then you had fun with flags.
You
had to identify the flags.
Yes, and I was shocked at how well one of our friends is with flags.
Yes.
Doug, and it never failed. That's what he and his partner rolled every single time.
Yeah, so we actually had fun with this thing.
We did. We had a few friends over and played this. Some friends we've known for 20 plus years now. And we split into teams and we played this and we laughed. Mm-hmm. We had a great time with it. So this one will stay in the collection.
The travel collection.
In the travel collection. I think that this one it's just going to be a little more open for more people because you don't have to know
the show, except for maybe the counterfactuals and the celebrity.
Right. But you don't have to know the show in order to play it. You can still, and it's all team based. So if you don't know something, maybe your teammates will.
Counterfactuals is basically it's a riddle.
It is. It really is.
If you're good at riddles, you're going to get it.
Yeah. So it was fun. This one will stay in the travel collection.
Mm-hmm. Staying with the IP theme, next game was, I couldn't believe there was even a game made of this, and that is the Brady Bunch.
This one was hysterical.
I do have to say this, if you notice, it's the little moving board. I don't know if you can see,
Oh, yeah, there you go.
The heads move. We played this game the night that I had a migraine all day.
A little bit of, you were just recovering from a migraine.
This did not help. The game was but yeah.
Okay, so this one plays, you've got, the 7 Brady kids, because of course you've got Cousin Oliver on there. But
Which ruins the game, like it ruined the show.
Shush, nobody played Oliver.
No.
So you've got the 7 kids, and then somebody plays Alice. I was chosen to play Alice that night. So the concept is that there's 2 parts to the game. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember how this works.
Somebody's the tattletale and somebody's the troublemaker.
Well, and that's just it. There's nobody identified right from the start of the game.
It's all in the cards.
You start with a hand of 4 cards, numbered from 1 to 6. And as the game progresses, each person lays down 1 card, and then
under their person,
Alice shows out. Alice basically, everybody has 2 cards in the mix. And she deals out 3 people who can peek at somebody else's card, and then she can question. Alice questions anybody in the group. Doesn't have to be those 3. Can be anybody who they think is the big troublemaker. And if you laid down a 1, you're not trying to be a troublemaker. You're a tattletale. Or the lower numbers, I should say, not necessarily a 1. If you laid down the higher numbers, then you're the troublemaker. So the game shifts based on what cards you have in your hand. And everybody starts with 4, and you draw a new one each turn.
So basically, though, when Alice asks the questions, you can either lie or you can tell the truth.
So Alice doesn't even know if the person's lying.
Especially if you plan on being the troublemaker and you're trying to
push the suspicion off on somebody else. So I'll tell you, the game we played, Marcia, which was our friend Kat,
Marcia
was the troublemaker, and she took that role wholeheartedly right from the beginning because she had a handful of high cards. So boy, she was definitely the troublemaker. It was a fun game. Again, we laughed. I think
because she kept trying to push it off on Jan.
Yep, and she did. And
Jan
but
and
everybody
Bobby
else
the one that everybody was saying, "Oh no, they're the troublemakers."
So it was a lot of fun. I think it helped that we played the game with people we have known for the better part of 20 to 25 years. I think it helped that we were all familiar with the series. I don't know that this would be a fun game with somebody not familiar with the series, but
this is a game that's actually by Prospero
This is
Hall,
a fairly new game.
The components are decent. I mean,
this was just published, but yeah, I mean the components are all decent.
You look at the components.
So you got your board that flips over. You've got your cookies. Alice, each round, it plays in 4 rounds. You can lay out, each player Alice chooses 1 kid to get a cookie.
The one she believes
the most, yeah. And then, so that's another piece of the game.
Explain what the cookies was. The cookies have a plus and a minus sign on it, so when you do your final scoring, you can add or subtract to your score depending on what you want. If everybody thinks you're going to be the bad guy, the troublemaker, you can and have 2 cookies, you can put out 2 minuses to lower your score.
So it's a fun game. We're going to keep this in the travel collection. I think Brady Bunch is, even by teenagers now, still fairly well known.
It's a
still
cult classic.
There.
It's on Nickelodeon and all that
so we're gonna hold on to it. We'll see how often it comes out, but it's a fun party game. So there you go. That's the Brady Bunch.
So this now is going to go into a different series of games that we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them.
Yep.
But it's still with the IP theme on the first one.
Yep.
This is Battleship Command. This is the Pirates of the Caribbean version, Dead Man's Chest.
Yep.
This was an interesting game because you have, 9 ships?
There's 6 different ships.
6 ships, that's
Each player has 6 ships to start with.
You only put 3 out.
Each ship type... I'm sorry, yes.
Well, it's on the front of the box too, so.
Each ship type has 3 different options, and it's all done on cards. So the main board...
You're going to get the main board out?
I'm just going to show this. The main board is this.
Oh, actually, no, that's
oh, shush. The main board is this. So you're literally... Each player takes one of their 3 cards and puts it into... So you put it in this way. So you're looking at where your ship is, and the other player is giving you numbers and letters, just like normal Battleship on the other side. And then each ship has 1 spot, if you can see the sweet spot down there at the bottom, where if you hit that sweet spot, you automatically take it out. You don't have to hit every single spot.
What do you get? Oh, you got the Kraken.
I happened to grab
cool
the
too because
Kraken,
you see there's red X's on there too, and every time you hit a red X, that person gets 1 less tack because the Kraken starts off. He gets to call out 8 of them.
8?
At the beginning, yes.
Oh,
He
it
gets
is
to start off with 8 attacks on his turn.
Yep.
But every time a red X is hit, he loses an attack that
Right.
turn.
So it's an interesting. It was an interesting take on the game. Let's put it that way.
And each ship had something different. Like some ships could shoot twice.
Yeah.
Some ship could keep shooting as long as it was hitting.
Yep. So yeah, it was interesting. That is Battleship Command. We'll talk about the rest of the line here, and then we'll kind of go over them all together. I'm just gonna make
So
a
this
stack
next
right
one is just Battleship, the tactical board game. This one was actually rather a cool setup.
This was a neat set. It was the same type of setup as this one. It had the stand-up
You had
board.
the top and the bottom. One side's green, one side's blue, but the green side, of course, has got theirs on the bottom. The blue side's going to put their ships on the top, so it depends on where you're going to place.
Yeah.
Plus, it had a person, because there's little islands on the board.
Yeah.
And ships can't go on islands, of course. But
And the
you
ships were
had
odd shapes.
basically you had one prisoner you put on an island. So after somebody blew up the other team's ships, all of their ships, now they had to track down, find the person, rescue the person to win the game.
Yeah.
As much as this one, the board was really, really cool.
I did like it. But again, the board is hard to see through.
Yes. And it sits so low on the table, all the numbers, if you can see, all the numbers are right under the pegs.
Yeah.
So it was really hard to see what number you were going. I mean, they had the letters all up here, and so you could say, like, F for Foxtrot and all that. But it was really hard to see the numbers, and in our game, we really kept screwing up, or at least I kept screwing up, I guess. I was putting pegs where I thought I was putting them, and then we'd go back and check. It wasn't where we thought we were putting them.
I like the pieces. I like the concept of the game. I love the 3D nature of it.
This one had a cool storage because the game board went in there, and then the storage just pulled out, and of course they were already right there for you, ready to go.
It was an interesting game.
And it wasn't standard pieces. Because you had triangle pieces.
Yeah, there was a triangle ship.
Were actually looked like the newer aircraft carriers.
Yeah.
I mean, they were, and then of course you had the one person that was as big as some of the ships.
Yeah. So yeah, it was interesting. I liked it, but yeah. Okay, next.
Now it's the classic Battleship game. This one is basically like the electronic game. This is upside down.
Yeah, I know.
But this is the game basically I grew up with, except for it wasn't electronic. It didn't have all the cool stuff.
Oh, this
around
isn't electronic. That's just a picture.
Oh, it's just a picture. Okay. Well, I didn't have the cool.
This is your everyday standard.
Sits in a case. You open it up.
Yeah, this is your. If I can get it open, it doesn't want to open. I'm not going to fight it. But the graphics are. The graphics are the one on the back, but this is your standard everyday Battleship.
So it still plays the same as that. You're calling out things and you're trying to sink ships.
Everybody has their own thing. I think
it's Battleship.
Anybody watching this show has probably seen what Battleship looks like. I'm hoping.
Now this one was really cool. This is Battleship Torpedo. The weird thing about it is the box lid. We was like, why isn't the box bottom the same size as the box lid? Well, there's a reason. Okay, you have my permission to open this one, but that's game number 5 that's been opened.
But okay, so this one comes with your 2 controllers. Each player gets a controller. Each controller sits at the edge of the box. Can you see that? And then you have your little viewfinder, and that slides down. Oops, nope, goes this way into your controllers, like so. And then you have all these are just to hold
your pieces.
Basically to hold these teeny tiny, the tiniest silly things I've ever seen.
You have your shields.
You have your shields.
To kind of focus with.
Yep, to help you focus. Yeah. And then your main board flips over.
Well,
this flips over too, but there's an inner board in here that takes the torpedoes and rolls them back out so you can reuse them. But you have a set of small ships. Every player has a set of little small ships.
Mm-hmm. That you keep to the side.
The small ships.
Oh, the small ships.
The small ships go onto this portion of your board. Now, all the numbers here and here coincide. So everything coincides with numbers on here. So you're putting all your small ships down here. These are the ones your opponent's trying to hit of yours, and you're hitting up here,
You're
trying to
recording where
hit
you're shooting at up here.
You're recording your shots up here to try and locate their ships. And once you locate their ship, then they take the ship, the full-size ship, they put it out on the board with whatever matches the grid location here. They put it out on the board, and now you have to shoot a torpedo out of your thing.
And try and hit the little tab that sits through. If you can hit it and it knocks it out, you get...
Then you get points based on how many torpedoes it took to hit.
Yeah.
This was...
You only get 3 shots.
You only get 3 shots. Yes,
and if you miss, the ship gets loose and goes away.
Yep, the ship gets away. This was... I have to admit, this one was a lot of fun.
This one was a lot of fun.
Yes, this one was a lot of fun. Before we talk about that one, let's before we talk about what we're doing with each of them, go ahead and bring out that one.
So this one we can keep that in there if you want.
Yeah.
And the next one was the card game Battleship. This one was interesting because you had your... I don't know if you can see on the back here, but each it was a 2-player game. Each side had their colored red or blue cards, and you put it on the grid. And in those cards is where your ships were at or misses. And you said the grids, right?
No, you just simply you said.
Oh, you pointed at the card, and then they'd flip it over and that. And you had cards that you could actually heal your ships.
Some ships had special powers if you had them up.
We actually had a lot of play, and there's more ways to play it.
Yeah.
I think there's even a scenario in here.
Oh,
because you still have those.
Those are on there. I couldn't figure. I was like, something's wrong.
But this is very compact. You could take this anywhere and play it. I mean, you could be sitting in the airport, just sit down on the floor and play it on the floor.
Right.
In a restaurant, you can sit it on your table.
Oh yeah, it doesn't take up much space. Okay, so all 5 games combined here. Okay.
All battleships. Still all play pretty much the same.
Pretty much. So, Ultimate Decision, as much as we enjoyed Torpedo, there's a lot of pieces to it.
And a lot to set up.
And there were a couple occasions where balls went flying, even with us. And we had to chase them down. So...
Which is hard because the balls stay under this grid.
They do, but there was one point. There's one hole.
Come out
at
the side,
one point, you had removed your... I think we were taking it apart, and I was trying to empty mine.
Oh, yeah.
And you had removed your
she shot one and right through the other hole.
Right through the other hole and straight into his lap. So, all right. So the Ultimate Decision.
And the pieces, the little pegs are super, super tiny.
Oh, my gosh, they're tiny. All right, so the Ultimate Decision, we're going to get rid of all 4 of the regular games, and we're keeping the card game. It plays very much like Battleship without all the little teeny tiny pegs. I actually I think out of all 4 of them, I enjoyed this the most.
I think the main reason why we're getting rid of these for what we're using them for is because of all the little pegs.
Yes.
We will lose those so easily.
Yes.
Especially in big things. People realize they fell on the floor, get kicked around.
I think another part of it is these are all 2-player games. Mm-hmm. When we have kids come into the events that we host at the high schools, they want games that are going to play 5 and 6 people. Mm-hmm. Maybe 3 or 4 at the very least. Yeah. I don't think I've ever had somebody come in and ask for a 2-player game. So I'm not sure I want to hold on to a series of games that only play 2-player, and there's no way to make it teams or to do anything else with it. I think we've just got too many other options to hold on to these. So these 4 are going. This guy will stay because he is teeny tiny, and we can take him anywhere.
And we can sit and play while we're waiting for people to take us.
Yep. There you go. So that is the decision on these. These guys out of the way.
Okay. Next one is a game I didn't even know we had in the collection. I've been wanting to play it. This is Bang, the card game, not the dice game. This is a game about a sheriff, a renegade, some outlaws, and some deputies.
Potentially 2. We had 1 because we only had 6 players instead of 7.
Mm-hmm. This plays up to 7 players.
4 to 7. Yep. So
Why we haven't played it yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Now.
We played this the same weekend we played the Brady Bunch and a number of other party games you're going to see coming up. So, all right. So the way this one is played, everybody has a hand. You start with a hand of cards that have either weapons. You have so many bullets that indicate your life. Basically, those are your life points. Everybody takes a turn. You're playing cards on other players, trying to figure out who is what. The sheriff, everybody knows who the sheriff is. The goal of everybody except the deputy is to take out the sheriff. Mm-hmm. The outlaws don't mind taking each other out, and they're trying to take out the deputy, who is not known right from the start, as well as the sheriff, who is known. Mm-hmm. And then you have the renegade. The renegade's goal is to literally be the last person standing. They want to take over, but they want the sheriff's job, but the deputy is loyal to the sheriff, so they need to take out the deputy as well. Lord knows they can't have the outlaws roaming around either, so they need to take them out as well. Mm-hmm. So, unfortunately, the renegade was the first person out. That was Kat. Yep. So she did definitely not win. Turns out the outlaws won our game. I was an outlaw. I was taken out fairly quickly by the sheriff. Or was it you? I don't remember who took me out.
I don't
now.
remember who took you out, though, but I know the sheriff almost took me completely out
Yes,
without realizing I was his deputy until close to the end of the game, and by then it was too late. I was like down to one life. And...
Yeah, it was a fun game. We did enjoy it. We laughed a lot on it. Like I said, the other two outlaws ended up winning the game because they withstood They ended up taking out.
Now this is
John.
a newer edition because Sarah, who's played this a bunch of times, realized this one actually has player boards where you have a place to put all your cards, shows how many bullets you have, and all that.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, ours has player boards. Ours is also primarily Italian, so all of our cards are
the big letters are in Italian.
So, but that's all right. It worked. All of our, what would normally be considered flavor text was what we had to read in order to get what we were doing, because that was.
Now, we used to have two copies of this. You got rid of
I got rid of the other copy. I think
Italian?
it was, I think so. Yeah, I didn't see a need for having two copies.
Yeah, and I think it was Doug that realized that it was, I think he was the one that said it was Italian.
Possibly.
Yep. Best Italian game.
So.
That's what we went off of.
Yep.
If it's not, comment down below and tell us what language that is.
All right. So anyway, that is Bang the Card Game. I someday want to try the dice game. I've heard it's better.
We gotta find it first.
We are going to keep this. It's a great party game, so we're going to go ahead and keep this in the collection. It sits in the travel collection, but we know where it is if we want to play it next time. So,
yep.
There you go. Bang.
This next one was the predecessor, the one that comes first. Is that the right word I'm thinking about?
Predecessor
of Know What I Meme. This is Bubble Talk.
What do you meme?
What do you meme? That's what it is.
This
is pretty much that game, but it came out before. Yep. And basically you have a picture and you have little cards that's got phrases on it because you're trying to say what's going on in the picture or what the picture is saying.
This is the same apples to apples mechanism.
Right.
Right.
But you have a picture like.
Yes. So instead of having that card that everybody is trying to match, you have a picture, and you're coming up with a meme for it. It is. I do not like the apples to apples mechanism. I never have. This was hysterical, and again, it could have been part of who we were playing with.
Well, yeah, the people we played with, but that picture I think is changes it for me.
Look at this picture. So, and all of them are like this. They are all just funny pictures. And so, and of course, all of the little bubbles, the bubble talk are all something. Yeah. I don't know. It was fun. We enjoyed it. We do not own What Do You Meme?
No. We've never even played it.
No, never even played it. I've watched it played. But we're going to hold on to this one since it is the predecessor to that. It is a fun party game. It is something similar enough that the mechanisms are recognized, but yet not your standard apples to apples. And I like that. All right, so this one is staying in the travel collection.
Next. This is Ackwards. This one was
This one was weird. Okay, so you split into teams. There were three. Everybody split into two teams. There were three options on a card, and each team had to choose the two wrong answers. If you chose the right answer, then you progressed on the track, and you didn't want to progress. The goal was to be the furthest away from the finish line. Mm-hmm. It was backwards.
Yeah, because we started on finish and then...
It was okay, but I don't think... It's not Stain. It was confusing.
I think it was a very confusing game. I mean, some people may like this game. They've played it before.
There was a lot of really interesting facts. Mm-hmm. And we did find that intriguing, but not intriguing enough to hold on to it. Again, this came from the travel collection. We have a lot of B's in the travel collection. A lot of them. But again, in the interest of paring that one down a little bit, this guy didn't make it. Mm-mm. So he's going to go on the sale pile. All right.
Next is another party game, Buzzword.
I didn't put these boxes up, obviously.
Buzzword.
Okay. This one you had... What was it? Okay, so you knew every card has... Again, you split into two teams. Every card has a word up here at the top. So this one is Smith. And then one person on the team reads aloud to the rest of their team all of the clues, and they have to come up with the answer that has to do with the buzzword, Smith. Like, for example, the number one was makes horseshoes among other metal objects. Well, it's a blacksmith.
The Fresh Prince. Oh, Will Smith.
Will Smith, yeah.
Green Apples, Granny Smith. Paul Revere's Profession, Silversmith.
Yeah. Yep. So if you can get all 10 of them, then you get points based on how many you get correct. Whatever you don't get correct, whatever you pass on, whatever your team passes on, then the other team now has a chance to win. So they get points too.
And there's a timer, so you're under time.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. We had a good time with it. It was just an interesting party game again. So yeah, we will... I have no idea how that goes in there. There you go. Oh, probably. So anyway, we will hold on to this one. It's going to stay in the collection. Like I said, it was just... we had a good time with it. Simple as that. So that is Buzzword.
The next one is a game that Katie finally won.
I never win this game.
This is the game of Bazaar. This is a Sid Saxon game by Griffin Games.
Yep.
This is all about basically...
You are trying to match... Basically, yeah. Okay, so every game comes with these two cards that show...
And there's more than two cards.
Well, there's more than two cards. There are a lot of cards in this game. Have you lost count yet? Yeah. So the game comes with this whole stack of trading cards. This is essentially your market. So, and each card has ways you can trade out pebbles to get the colors you want. It comes with these beautiful glass pebbles. Basically garden stones, but I love these colors.
And you're using those pebbles too. Because there's 4 different bazaars.
Yep.
And each one has a thing up. So on this one you have to have all green ones.
Yep. So you can...
And it has a star, so it means it's extra points.
Starring is, though, the points are all scored based on whether the cards have 1 star or have a star or not have a star.
Or there's some without stars.
Or how many pebbles you have left in front of you at the time. So the goal is you're trying to trade out your pebbles in order to
fill the order,
get the colors you need without having any extras left over at that point.
So you get the most points.
So there's also dice you can roll. If you're stumped and you can't trade anything, you can just roll a dice to get
a free one.
A free color.
On this one, it has a
randomizer.
Has a lamp that basically you get take any one you want.
Yep. So throughout the game, you're trading out, like if you need that all green and you have these other 4 colors, you can trade it for a green. You can trade a yellow for 2 whites and a red, and these change every turn. So your markets are never the same. You're always, I think there's like 10 or 12 markets, and you only use 2 per game. So I love this game. It is so thinky. I found this at Goodwill years ago,
and the components are awesome. It's got the matte finish on the cards.
These are, I mean,
even the boards are hard. The boards are thick. They got the matte finish on it. The dice is big and chunky.
These are not paper. These are cardboard.
And it has an insert that works.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Because it even has a cover that goes back over it to hold everything in place.
So yeah.
Why can't games nowadays do that?
I don't know, but yep, absolutely one of my favorite
Goodwill pickups. Yeah, but this is a really good game. This stays in our collection because we play this a lot.
We played this one with my sister-in-law and her husband, my brother, and she immediately went out and had to find herself a copy. She really liked it. But it is a very thinky, abstract strategy.
Yeah. Now there is AP in this because you got to figure, okay, if I do this with this one, if I trade that one, and that's going to give me way too much, but it's going to give me what I need to get there, but I'm going to end up with like 3 or 4 extra gems before I get it. So is there any way that I can trade these in to get less? So
yeah. It's thinky,
really thinky,
but at the same time, I love it.
30 to 45 minutes, 2 to 6 players. So
yeah, you can play a lot of players. We've never played it. We've played it 4. We've never played it 6. Huh? I didn't realize this played 6.
So that's Bazaar.
Bazaar.
By Sid Saxon.
Sid Saxon. Yep. All right. Slide off
Next one's an oldie but a goodie. This is also a 6-player game. This is Balderdash.
Now, I've heard so many people say Beyond Balderdash is better. We do not own Beyond Balderdash, but I like this one. We've had so much fun with this game over the years. Thank you. I don't know why I'm thanking you. You're going to do it anyway. But it was all upside down. Okay, so with Balderdash, what you're doing is the person whose turn it is
rolls the dice.
Yep, rolls the dice.
Basically, the dice tell you what word you're going to do.
You choose a card that has 5 options on it. The dice tells you which one you're going to do.
Yeah.
If you have a 6, then you get
it says the word. It has a pronouncer behind it, so you pronounce it correctly. Yep. And then it gives you the definition of the word. Yep. If you're the person with the card, you write down on your paper the
real definition.
The real definition. Everybody else has to come up with what they think the definition is.
Yes.
And the way you score points in this is if you're the person who actually had the card, you don't want anybody to guess that that's the real definition. Right. You would get 3 points if not. If someone picks a person's definition that wasn't the real one, that person gets a point for everybody who picks it.
If you manage to pick the correct definition, then you get the point.
You get the points.
And then if your definition is close enough to be recognizable to the real definition, then you get a point. Or you get like 3 points if you actually guess the right definition. Mm-hmm. If you come up with the right definition. We've had so much fun with this game. It does not come off the shelf very often. There's been
some interesting definitions.
There are some, oh my gosh, I think we played that game 20 years ago, and to this day, Beachick. We all remember that one.
You remember Petey too.
What was Petey now?
Well, Petey was spelled Peetie. And you pronounced it as Petai, which gave me my definition that I was going to write down, and that was a crotch length tie. And I thought the table was going to fall over because everybody was hitting it and laughing.
Oh my God. We laughed so hard with this. This one is definitely staying.
But to explain your Beachick.
Beachick. Okay, so 20 years ago, it had to have been at least that long ago, one of our friends, that was the word.
Beachick.
And his definition was the girl you call when the A-chick's not available. And that has stuck with us for 20 years. It is, Anyway.
We've never heard that word used anywhere,
nope.
But
I don't even remember what the real definition was.
Neither do I.
So, yeah. Anyway, who needs Beyond Balderdash? This one has brought enough hilarity to party games for us.
Yeah, and this one will stay because this is a great game for a lot of people.
It is. And you can play Well, it says 2 to 6 players. I don't see why you couldn't play with more than that.
No.
Well, because it only has 6 tokens.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. We can find more tokens. But that is Balderdash.
The next one is not a party game, but it plays 6 players.
Mm-hmm.
Plays 7.
7 players.
That's between the 2 castles of Mad King Ludwig.
So this one is... oh, gosh. Okay, so this one plays 7 player. You are building a castle.
Well, this is exactly like Between Two Cities.
It's exactly like Between Two Cities.
The Mad King Ludwig theme in it.
Right. It takes Between Two Cities and adds in the iconography of the castles of Mad King Ludwig and the palace of Mad King Ludwig. So you are, each round, it is drafting tiles round robin. You start with I want to say a pile of 9 tiles.
Yes, 9
I think
tiles.
it's 9 tiles. You choose 2 and then pass it on. And then after you've chosen your 2, you have to decide
which castle you're
one
gonna
it's going to go
build
into.
it
So
in.
the goal of the game is you're building 2 castles. You're building one castle with the partner on your left, and you're building one castle with the partner on your right.
And each tile scores in a different way, so you're trying to match it up to make it score more, and you're trying to build your castle to score even more points by placing certain tiles in certain places.
And the goal of the game is you want to build both castles well, because the winner of the game is the person with the highest score of their lowest.
The highest lowest score
yes,
wins.
Basically. So everybody takes their 2 scores, their lowest score is the one that counts, and whoever has the highest of the lowest scores is the winner.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a fairly common scoring mechanism. I've seen it done in a lot of games, and it works in cases like this, I think. Because otherwise, you're going to focus all your attention on one castle and the other castle.
So this way, you're kind of just trying to keep it even.
So,
and I won by the tiebreaker.
You won with the tiebreaker, yes, because you and Doug both had the exact same score on your lowest, and Mary and I both had our same score on our lowest.
But your lowest score was lower than ours,
right?
And I can't remember what the tiebreaker was.
The tiebreaker is the person who has the highest of the highest scores wins the tiebreaker of the lowest scores. So your I know it was a doozy. So
Did you get all that?
It's a fun strategy game. We've played it 6 player before. Actually, we played Between Two Cities 6 player. I've played this 5 player with friends on New Year's Eve a few years ago. I've never played it 7, and I think there's an expansion now that makes it an 8 player. Which I don't see why you couldn't. It's the same time. There's no time difference, no matter how many players you have, because of the way it's done. So, but that is Between Two Castles. Really enjoyed this. This is in our collection and will stay there. So there you go.
So this next game, our last game, we no longer have the box for.
Nope, box is
We
long
bought
gone.
this when our kids were very young, and the game was still rather new. And to say right off the bat, originally, we weren't even going to have it on here. We were originally just going to sell it.
Yep.
But then I was like, no, let's play it before we sell it, at least.
Yep.
Needless to say, we played it, and she actually liked it so much, and I liked it so much that we're now actually going to keep it for the other collection, because we could see this being perfect at a big...
It's pretty sad when the game starts out as it's on the chopping block before we even play it.
And this is Battle Masters.
And now we've already put card sleeves on it, and I've re-glued.
The reason we don't have a box is because our kids played it a lot. Now, did they play it as the game?
Heck
just a couple of
no.
times. I remember playing it with them. They played it more like we're playing War. So there are pieces on there that are broken, but not as many as I thought there was.
All things considered.
All the cards are there.
We're missing one
most
die.
of the cards are in good shape. Yeah, we're missing one die.
We're missing one die.
But that's easy to get around.
Exactly. We're missing 5...
5 goblins?
No, 5 of the skull tokens, which indicate damage. We never even needed the 45 we do have.
Mm-hmm.
We're missing a couple of the goblin riders, and we're missing a couple of... I think we're missing a couple of archers.
And all 6 of the goblin wolf riders, or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
The little knob on the bottom that keeps them on the wolf broke off. That's number 9.
Whatever. This board,
Right,
and I'm going to
10.
show pictures of this. I am not opening it. This board is 4.5 foot by 4.5 foot, give or take a couple inches. It will not even fit on our dining room table, let alone our game room table.
And our dining room table is rather large.
Yes. So you got this giant castle in the middle. Oops. Giant castle in the middle. But we've repurposed all of these. All of these come with bases, like so. We have all the bases. We have all the flags. This one's missing one guy. So some of them are way bigger than this, and I can't even keep them in the box. But that's basically what it is. This is how many dice they get to roll, and what they are. Everything is done by card play. You've got a deck of cards that are shuffled, and each card shows who's allowed to move and or attack that round. So you're going through the deck and moving your people accordingly when this comes up. So,
and if you're within attack range, then you get to attack.
Exactly.
There's another set of cards for the ogre.
Yep.
So when the ogre's card comes up, he deals out all these cards. He flips them over, and that's what he's doing. And it's only he moves or he attacks. Yep. Well, if you get to a card that says he attacks and there's nobody around to attack, he doesn't attack it.
Yep.
So, and he plays through all of them. And there's 5 ogre cards in the deck.
Yep.
And there's 4 cannons, because the other team gets the cannon.
Nice.
The cannon has its own disc.
The cannon has these discs. You put one disc.
The target disc on where you're shooting.
Yep. So you put your target disc on your target, and then one by one you're going to lay these down. And there's 3 different. Oh, that one's flipped over the wrong direction. There's 3 different sides. You've got your flying cannonball, which means it just keeps on going one by one. You're
doesn't hit anything
over to see what happens. Then you have your bouncing cannonball. Well, if this happens right next to the cannon, then the cannon's going to take a little bit of damage. But if it happens out in the field, then no big deal.
Well, if it happens out in the field and lands on where your army or somebody else's army, they're going to take a point of damage.
Or there's the explosion, which means that's where the cannonball blew up. And if it happens to be a different target than you intended, then that person blows up.
Yep.
If it happens right in front of you, then you might blow up the cannon.
Yeah, because if this is the first one that goes off, you have to shuffle all the cards, the tiles back up, and place another one.
Yeah.
If it's another explosion, the cannon blows up.
Yep.
If it's a bouncing one, the cannon takes damage.
Yep.
If it's a soaring one, it just keeps on going.
Yep.
And if you can get it to soar or bounce all the way to your target without blowing up, this target, you just flip it over. Now, whatever was targeted, the whole thing. It doesn't just take damage; it's gone.
It's gone. Yeah. So I got rid of a couple of his.
You got rid of my ogre that way.
I did. You played the Chaos Army. I played the Imperial Army.
I just basically outlasted you.
Unfortunately, the Chaos Army won. Yeah, you outlasted me.
Because it is a little one-sided. It feels like because the Chaos Army has more cards.
Yeah,
more cards.
I thought they definitely.
And the Chaos Army starts with more soldiers.
Yes, they have 11. They have 14 bases, and the Imperial Army only has 11.
Yeah, so it's kind of feels one-sided, but if it's all in the way the cards come out.
Yeah. I could see this guy. We've decided to hold on to him. We're going to take him to an event, put him up on a couple of tables put together, and see what kind of attention it gets. Mm-hmm. There is a lot of setup to it. A little bit of teardown. Teardown doesn't take.
But that's why we'll already
long.
have it pre-set up.
Yeah. But I think
it's a very easy game to teach.
It is super easy.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
we seen
the rules were
that
this
rule
easy.
book is like this thick. And we're like, oh, jeez.
It's nothing.
We looked at the rule book. The rule book is well set up, but we cheated. Yeah. We watched a couple playthrough videos of it that's on, so you can always do that. And learn, this is repetitive. This is play a card, that's what moves. Play a card, that's what moves. Oh, they're close enough to attack? Okay, so now they're going to attack. They're going to roll the dice and attack and do what they said. And then it's the next card that comes up because you only attack once.
Yep.
Except for the ogre can attack 3 times.
Right.
If he has in position to attack.
If he's in position. So.
But yeah, it's a really fun game. I forgot how much fun I had with the kids when I played this.
I was totally shocked at just how fun this was. So we are definitely going to keep it. Yeah, there we go. But so that is Battle Masters.
And that's
it for this episode.
Series for today.
Yeah, so that is our second episode of the Bees. I feel we tried to get all the party games in. We took advantage of the fact a few friends came over and got as many party games in as we could over the holiday weekend.
So here's a question.
So-
Which one of these games that we focused on today have you played? Which one would be considered one of your favorites? Which one do you want to play?
Yeah.
Just let us know in the comments.
And
Until then,
until next time.
we'll see you at the next one.